This is going to be a brief demo on doing 3D printing. We'll be making an Olympic style medal for the summer reading program. The first thing we need to do is get a graphic. I've already prepared one for the print materials, so we'll go look for that graphic right now. The graphic is called Summer Olympic 2 SVG is the tag. An SVG file will work when imported into Tinkercad. Then we have to resize it. Proportionally, you need to drag it from one of the four corners while holding the Shift key to resize it proportionally. And then we'll move it out of the way because we need the other parts of the medal. Now the medal is a round disc, so we'll get the cylinder shape. And I want to resize it to 90 millimeters. And I want it to be 5 millimeters tall. And it's kind of hard to tell when you're looking dead on like this, so I'm going to tilt it slightly. And then it's easy to see I've got a long way to go. Get it down to 5 millimeters. Now it's hard to do it at this resolution in this angle, so I'm changing the angle and also zooming in so I can get down to 5. Now the next thing I need to do is put my image on top, but it's not going on top. You need to use this little arrow here in the middle. It's a black arrow, it turns red when you click on it, and if you click on that, you'll actually move it up higher, and then you can just slide it over on top. And then again, we need to resize it proportionally, holding down the Shift key while dragging. And it's still too big, it's hanging off the end. So now we're going to resize it a little bit more. And then, whoops, I wanted to center it, but you can center the disc under it or the image on top. Now we're going to tilt it forwards to see if it's actually centered, and of course it's not, so we'll get it centered. Then the other thing you need to check is it actually touching the surface? And it's not, it's floating above it. So we're going to tilt it ever so slightly so we can see the angles. We'll grab that little arrow on top and bring it down. And we also want this to be 5 millimeters. Since it's sticking out the top, it won't go all the way through the disc. And as you can see, it doesn't go all the way through. And it's nicely embossed. We'll check it to see what we think about the alignment. I want to nudge it up just a little bit. There we go. Now this would be perfect except for the fact there's no place to put the ribbon. So I'm going to slide this down so I have room. Rather than putting a hole in it at the top of the torch, which would either cut off the image or make me have to move the torch down or make the image smaller, I'm going to put a ring on top that the ribbon can go through. And it just fit into the top like this. Now I also want that to be 5 millimeters, so it's the same thickness as the medal itself. And as you can see, it is. And we'll just check that just to make sure everything aligns. So it's aligning perfectly. It's not sticking through the back, it's not sticking off the top. Oops, I didn't mean to turn it sideways. Now I want to group the entire medal. So I select it all and I group it. And that way it's one piece of design with an embossing on it as opposed to 3 or 4 separate elements. Then the only thing left to do is to save it. So we'll go to Properties, we'll give it a proper name as opposed to the auto-generated name. We're going to call it Olympic medal, which will be better if I remember to put the P in there and spell it correctly. So let's get the P where it goes. Olympic medal. Save changes. as you can see, it's saving the little churning arrows. And then you download it for 3D printing. Save it to an STL ending, and that will work with the MakerBot. And that's how it's done.